Guy with Heroin Chic Reviews. Today I would like to speak with you about my experience reading Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. I've been a fan of Liz Nugent since I read Lying in Wait 3 years ago. I have loved her characterization and the plot twist and how she showed generational trauma, and I thought it was wonderfully done. I would give it a 5-star, highly recommend it. I was really excited about reading Strange Sally Diamond. It has outstanding reviews on Goodreads at 4.28 out of more than 18,000 reviews. So people really like this, and I was super excited. I got it from the library, first person to have it, and I found myself having a difficult time getting into the story and connecting with the main character of Sally Diamond. And I couldn't tell if it was because Sally is so socially isolated, or that you have an able-bodied woman writing about unprocessed trauma and mental health issues, or if I just was not the reader. I really wanted to share my perspective. Strange Sally Diamond is Liz Nugent's newest novel. As I said, I am a fan. It follows a 40-something Irish woman named Sally Diamond. She was adopted by a pair of doctors when she was about 7 and has been very isolated most of her life. She had a really hard time in school, was bullied. She doesn't really know how to act in social situations. In fact, she pretends to be deaf when she goes out at the beginning of the novel. She doesn't want to be engaged with at all. Don't talk to the postal service people, people at the grocery store. Just get what you need and come home. So her father dies, and there's a misunderstanding about how to take care of his remains, and that makes her very famous and kind of kickstarts the novel. So we have her perspective, and then about 50 or so pages into the novel, another perspective pops up. This one's set in the 1970s, so about 50 years prior. And this is from the perspective of a little boy. And we soon learn that he and Sally are connected in a very tragic, traumatic way. And his story progresses, moves forward in time as Sally's does. So her story starts in about 2018 and moves forward to 2020, and his progresses through the 70s to the 2020 present. Steven is just as unstable and troubled as Sally. However, he's better at masking it. He's also a man, so the requirements for socialization are different. He resides in New Zealand, even though he was born in Ireland. And he is much more aware of the trauma that he and Sally share than she. And he, I guess rather menacingly, shares this with her through letters and gifts that she doesn't know about, doesn't expect. And this leads to police investigation and things. So you have a lot of compelling components, 2 points of view, the police are involved, a lot of history. The thing that really made this so difficult for me to read and took away from my pleasure that I found in Lying in Wait was that I felt at a remove from the characters. I did not feel close to either Sally or Steven. Sally in particular was so closed off and so overwhelmed, and she just couldn't hold a conversation, and she had to go see a therapist, and she would play the piano when she got frustrated, and she would just kind of shut down almost, or she would get very irrationally angry and scare people. And it's very difficult, 2 steps removed kind of view of that person and still try to see them as sympathetic. I would have liked a more personal approach to that, and I don't know why Nugent didn't decide to kind of put us more in Sally's head, less observations of the anger and how the neighbors responded and things. I didn't enjoy that. It didn't help me sympathize with Sally and want to read her story. Steven, similarly, it starts in childhood with him, so he's being told things, he's being restricted, and you, the reader, know that there's a reason, and it's probably a malicious one, and why he can't have friends and he can't go to a conventional school and several other restrictions, but he's just a child and is kind of just going along with it. So when he grows up and he's been so indoctrinated with these weird beliefs that he does not sufficiently kind of learn to interact in society. He's a loner, he doesn't have a girlfriend, can't really get a girlfriend. He has a job in IT, doesn't really talk to anyone, it's all email. So they're both really kind of unhealthy, unstable, underdeveloped, undersocialized people. And not that I think characters need to be likable, but I need to feel connected to them when I read, and I just did not feel that with either Sally or Steven. So that made it a real difficult journey for me. It's only 309 pages, but it took me more than a week to read because I just would read 20 pages and just find myself not invested and just forcing myself to get through it because I loved Lying in Wait so much and I wanted to do right by Liz Nugent and finish this. But it was not for me, sadly. In fact, it rates as my lowest ranking book of the year, 2.25 stars out of 5. To wrap up and say, Strange Sally Diamond is a great novel to read if you enjoyed things like Room and generational trauma being processed and you reading about it. I would say the Goodreads rating and other reviews indicate that I'm an outlier. Please feel free to absorb this novel and read it if you see it out. I would really recommend you give Sally a try if you think she'll appeal to you, but sadly it did not work for me. Having said that, I invite you to comment below if you've read the novel, what you think of it, what you think could have been improved or why you enjoyed it. I would love to have an open dialogue about this. And until we meet again, happy reading.